Among the Silverdown clan of dwarves in the northern mountains, all the clan members are warriors, from the king down to the youngest washer girl. Being fit for war is essential to the clan's survival. Among the dwarf men of the tribe, the greatest warriors swear oaths to the gods. Some swear upon the hammer of Moradin, making oaths of loyalty to the king or devotion to the dwarven way. Others swear oaths of conquest or vengeance upon the axe of Clangeddin. Among the shield maidens and axe wives who fight at their side, the greatest swear a different sort of oath. They make pacts with the Valkyrie, the celestial warrior women who aid the goddess Baron or True Silver in choosing the fallen heroes who will feast eternally in Moradin's halls. Stay with us as we tell of one of these warrior maidens. Hi everyone, and welcome to another heroic episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Zapeel. Before we get started, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our exciting D&D content. Last week we said we'd be doing a video based on the Celestial Warlock. This is a very powerful Warlock subclass with its healing ability being one of the strongest, and its other abilities being pretty strong as well. Like most Warlocks, this subclass could benefit from multiclassing. Some Paladin levels could give it better fighting capability, and some levels in Sorcerer could strengthen its caster levels. However, it doesn't really need to be a multiclass. Every ability it gets is good enough to want to get it early, and its 14th level ability is absolutely amazing. So we are going to be making a single class Warlock and use the other ways to maximize our ability in combat. To do that, we are going to choose a warrior race. The mountain dwarves are born warriors. All dwarves receive combat training and are proficient with the battle axe, hand axe, light hammer, and a warhammer. In addition, mountain dwarves are proficient with light and medium armor. Mountain dwarves also gain the standard dwarven traits. They are medium-sized, standing between 4 and 5 feet tall, and have a walking speed of 30 feet. Their dwarven resilience gives them advantage on saves against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage. They are proficient with smith's tools, mason's tools, or brewer supplies, and they have stone cutting, which lets them use double their proficiency modifier when making history checks regarding the origin of stonework. Guy and I are old school D&D players, and this used to be a significant ability for dwarves, and we are pretty generous on how it is used in our campaign. We will often let dwarves get double proficiency when making investigation checks to discover traps or secret doors hidden within stonework, or find flaws or weaknesses in stone structures. Also, being accustomed to life underground, dwarves have dark vision with a range of 60 feet. Mountain dwarves gain a +2 bonus to both strength and constitution, yet another trait that makes them natural warriors. Using point buy, we put a 14 on strength, making it 16 with the racial bonus. We put a 14 on dexterity. We are going to be wearing medium armor, so dexterity is important. We put a 12 on constitution, making it 14 with the racial bonus. We put a 10 on intelligence. We are going to have a few knowledge skills, and we don't want a penalty. We put an 8 on wisdom. We are a bit impulsive and reckless. We don't need wisdom for much, and we do need a dumb stat, and this is it. We could have dumped intelligence instead, but we are proficient with wisdom saves, so that will make up for our penalty. Lastly, we put a 14 on charisma. This is our casting stat and affects a lot of our abilities, so we will be investing more on it later.
And our heroine is the daughter of the royal family. Her mother and grandmothers have served the clan both in battle and as leaders as long as the clan has existed. The noble background gives proficiency with the skills Persuasion and History, as well as proficiency with a gaming set of your choice. A strategy game such as chess or Go would be appropriate. It also grants you a position of privilege. Common folk tend to think the best of you, and people assume you have the right to be wherever you are. Common folk try to accommodate you and avoid displeasing you, and other nobles treat you as a peer, and you can gain an audience with local nobility if you need to. Our heroine doesn't abuse her royal status. She works as hard as any commoner and happily drinks beside them. She doesn't, however, tolerate any disrespect to her family and will avenge any slights against her clan. She is also a devoted worshipper of the gods, and the common folk draw inspiration from her devotion. Her noble status means she is looked upon as a leader in battle, and she strives to be worthy of it, and doesn't hesitate to defer to the wisdom of more seasoned warriors. Despite these stellar traits, she's not without flaws. She can be rash in her decisions and too quick to make judgments and even quicker to anger. While the people find these traits endearing, the wiser of them also shake their heads and hope she grows out of them. As a young dwarf who has completed her warrior training, she becomes a shield maiden of the clan, and as a noblewoman, she is given command of a band of other young lads and lasses who are her closest companions. Upon the 20th anniversary of her naming day, she went to the temple and made offerings to the goddess Baranar and her handmaidens, and asked that they grant her their strength. The Valkyrie Brunhild chose to guide her, and our heroine becomes a celestial warlock. At first level Warlock, she gains 2 skills from the Warlock list and takes Religion and Intimidation. While not prone to scholarly pursuit, she has been a devoted student of the gods' teachings and knows something of foreign gods as well. While her rash nature and short temper might be a liability, they also make her a dwarf that most prefer not to challenge. As a Warlock, she gains Pact Magic, getting a single first-level spell slot that recovers on a short or long rest. She learns 2 cantrips and 2 first-level spells. For cantrips, she wants Eldritch Blast. It's the best damaging cantrip in the game and will get better with invocations. She also wants Green Flame Blade, which will allow her to deal fire damage to an enemy adjacent to one she strikes with her weapon. At low levels, this is often better than taking the attack action, and even at higher levels, it's a powerful option to have. For her first spell, she wants Hex. It adds damage to her attacks both with weapons and her spells that require an attack roll. As a Celestial Warlock, the spells Cure Wounds and Guiding Bolt are added to the Warlock list for her, and she's taking Guiding Bolt for her second spell. It's the strongest first-level damage spell in our opinion, and normally only available to clerics. Celestial Warlocks also get the cantrips Light and Sacred Flame known. They count as Warlock spells for her and don't count against the number of cantrips she knows. Sacred Flame is an excellent alternative to Eldritch Blast when facing an enemy with a high armor class, and the Celestial Warlock will grant an ability later that will make it even stronger. As a Celestial Warlock, she also gets the ability Healing Light, which gives her a pool of d6s equal to 1 plus her Warlock level, and as a bonus action, she can spend these dice to heal a creature within 60 feet. She can spend a number of these dice up to a number equal to her Charisma modifier at one time. She then rolls the dice and heals the creature by that amount. This is like having an improved version of Healing Word that doesn't cost spell slots. Like Healing Word, it's a bonus action, so she can heal allies without losing any effectiveness in combat.
Yeah. Our valorous shield maiden has seen a fair bit of battle against enemies of the clan and has become a second-level warlock. As such, her Valkyrie mentor teaches her invocations, which are magical secrets, which gives her greater power. The first of these is Agonizing Blast. This invocation lets her add her Charisma modifier to the damage of each beam of her Eldritch Blast. Almost every warlock takes this, and she is no exception. For her second invocation, she learns Fiendish Vigor, or in this case, we should call it Angelic Vigor, which lets her cast False Life on herself as a first-level spell without it using a spell slot. This will give her 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points with each casting that lasts for an hour or until they are lost due to damage. A character can't have more than one pool of temporary hit points at a time, so multiple castings will replace each other rather than adding up. But since she can cast it without expending a spell slot, she can have these hit points at the start of every battle or refresh them after the battle is over or even during the battle if it is needed. She also gains another spell slot and learns another spell, and she wants Hellish Rebuke, or as she calls it, Angelic Rebuke, which is a reaction, and she can use it to deal 2d10 damage to a creature within 60 feet who has damaged her and fails a dexterity save. This damage will increase as her spell slots become higher levels. At 3rd level, our hero is becoming a seasoned warrior and becomes 3rd level warlock, gaining a Pact boon. A more scholarly person would take Pact of the Tome, becoming a stronger spellcaster. A dwarf with a more sensible nature might take Pact of the Talisman, granting them Great Skill or Pact of the Chain to grant a magical companion, but our hero is a warrior and she takes Pact of the Blade. This allows her to conjure a magical pact weapon. She can choose the form that this weapon takes when it is conjured, and it is proficient with it, so she can exchange her trusty battle axe or warhammer for a great maul or a great axe. If she finds a magical weapon, she can also perform a ritual to make it her pact weapon and magically summon it instead of creating one with magic. Her spell slots become 2nd level now, and she learns another spell that can be of 2nd level. Celestial Warlock adds the spells Lesser Restoration and Flaming Sphere to the Warlock list for her, but she is instead going to take Mirror Image to give her a strong protection without requiring concentration. At 4th level, her continued training is showing progress, and she gains an ability score improvement or a feat, and she needs to make her Charisma 16 to make her spellcasting as effective as her weapon skills. She also learns another cantrip and another spell that can be of 2nd level. For the cantrip, she wants Sword Burst, which deals a d6 damage to all creatures within 5 feet of her that fail a dexterity save. And for the spell, she wants to learn Shatter for a strong area of effect damaging spell.
And at 5th level, her patron is pleased with her progress and teaches her another invocation, and she learns Thirsting Blade, which allows her to make 2 attacks instead of 1 when taking the attack action with her pact weapon. Her cantrips also improve at this level, gaining an extra dice of damage from Sacred Flame and Sword Burst, an additional beam from Eldritch Blast, and Green Flame Blade deals an additional d8 fire damage to the target hit and a d8 plus Charisma modifier damage to the adjacent enemy. Her spell slots improve to 3rd level, and she learns another spell that can be 3rd level. Celestial Warlock adds the spells Daylight and Revivify to the Warlock list for her. So far, we've not been taking the healing options for spells, treating her as more of a warrior than a healer, and assuming that someone in her party will be taking on the healing role. But if this isn't the case, picking up her Vivify could be very important, as could Lesser Restoration at 2nd level. But we're going to continue to assume she isn't the party's primary healer, and instead take something more offensively oriented. And the next choice will require a little discussion with your DM, but there are a few options. First, if your DM allows Unearthed Arcana in their game, Summon Warrior Spirit from UA 85 is perfect for a Valkyrie-themed character. It conjures one of 3 types of Warrior Spirit that have abilities that can resemble a barbarian, fighter, or monk. The stat block for these appears in the spell description, which can be found online. These would represent fallen heroes from her clan, called forth from Moradin's halls to aid their descendants in battle. Now, if your DM does not use Unearthed Arcana, talk to them about reflavoring Summon Undead or Summon Shadow Spawn to achieve the same effect. And at 6th level, she begins to manifest the celestial nature of her patron and become a radiant soul, a conduit for divine energy. She has resistance to radiant damage, and whenever she casts a spell that deals radiant or fire damage, she adds her charisma modifier to 1 dice roll of that damage. Her cantrip, Sacred Flame and Green Flame Blade, both benefit from this ability, making them effective options to Eldritch Blast or taking the attack action. Also, spells such as Guiding Bolt and Hellish Rebuke become stronger. She learns another spell that can be 3rd level and is going to learn Fly so that she can take the battle to the sky like her Valkyrie patron. At 7th level, her powers of magic are growing stronger. Her spell slots become 4th level, and she can learn another spell that can be 4th level. Celestial Warlock adds the spells Guardian of Faith and Wall of Fire to the Warlock list for her, and she wants to take Wall of Fire. It's an excellent battlefield control spell that also deals good damage. Her patron also grants her another invocation, and she learns the power of Eldritch Smite. Once per turn, when striking a creature with a packed weapon, she can expend a spell slot and deal additional force damage equal to 1d8 plus another 1d8 per level of the spell slot used. This also knocks the enemy prone if they are size huge or smaller.
At 8th level, she is showing the results of her intense training and devotion and gets another ability boost or a feat. What to use this for really depends on how she has been fighting. If she found herself using her spells or cantrips heavily, then making her Charisma 18 is the best choice. Likewise, if she is frequently engaging in battle with her packed weapon, making her Strength 18 would be a better option. We are going to choose the extra strength. We see her more likely to take her axe against the enemy, but either would be a good choice. She also learns another spell that can be a 4th level and learns Banishment to better defend against fiends and other extra planar enemies. At 9th level, her increasing connection to her patron improves her spell slots to 5th level, and she can learn another spell that can be a 5th level. The spells Flame Strike and Greater Restoration are added to her spell list, and she wants to learn Flame Strike. It is a strong area of effect that benefits from her Radiant Soul ability. If she has the role of the party healer, she should now retrain her lower level spells such as Hellish Rebuke to learn Greater Restoration now. Her patron blesses her with another invocation, and she gets Power of the Eldritch Mind, which gives her advantage on checks to maintain concentration on her spells. At 10th level, her patron, who is pleased with her accomplishments, grants her Gift of the Celestial Resistance. Whenever she finishes a short or long rest, she gains temporary hit points equal to her Charisma modifier plus her Warlock level. She may also choose up to 5 creatures she can see, and they gain temporary hit points equal to her Charisma modifier plus half her Warlock level. As we said before, she can only have one pool of temporary hit points at a time, so she will want to wait until she has lost these before casting False Life. She also learns another cantrip. Booming Blade could be an alternative to Green Flame Blade in situations where she would like to hamper the enemy's movement, or Toll the Dead could be useful against enemies that have a poor wisdom save.
At 11th level, she begins learning more powerful magic and gains her first Mystic Arcanum. These are spells she can cast once per long rest without using a spell slot. The one she learns now is 6th level, and she takes Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. It makes her resistance to necrotic damage and immune to the charm condition. It adds +2 to her armor class and gives her wings that allow a 40-foot fly speed. It also grants some other abilities, but they're redundant with the power she already has. This is cast as a bonus action and lasts for up to 1 minute depending on concentration. If she finds that she doesn't frequently need to fly, she can now retrain the fly spell for something else and use this instead. But if flying is frequently useful, having both spells is very nice. Her increasing power also gives her a 3rd, 5th level spell slot. At 12th level, our heroine is becoming a majestic figure and a great war leader. Perhaps she takes a spouse and adopts the title of Axe Wife over Shield Maiden. Her increasing strength gives her another ability booster feat, and she's going to make her Charisma 18. If you did this at 8th level, then increase her Strength to 18 instead. She is also granted another invocation and gains the power of Life Drinker, which causes creatures hit with her packed weapon to take necrotic damage equal to her Charisma modifier. You might ask your DM if you can reflavor this ability as Blessed Blade or something and have it deal radiant damage instead, but if not, it's still a great invocation to have. And at 13th level, she gains her next Mystic Arcanum, and it is 7th level, and she learns Crown of Stars, which creates 7 motes of light that orbit her head. As a bonus action, she may send one of those motes streaking at a creature or object within 120 feet. If she makes a ranged spell attack, the target takes 4d12 radiant damage. The spell lasts for 1 hour or until all of the motes have been used. At 14th level, she becomes a true manifestation of her patron's power and can survive blows that would down a normal mortal and strike back at her enemies with searing vengeance. When she would need to make a death save, she can instead spring to her feet, gaining half of her total hit points and unleashing a burst of light that deals 2d8 radiant damage to all creatures of her choice within 30 feet and blinds them until the end of the current turn. This is very good. The healing is large enough to matter, and the damage and blindness do not allow a saving throw. Also, doing this doesn't use an action, so she can stand up and begin attacking her now blinded and damaged foes. She can even use her healing light as a bonus action to further strengthen her to continue the fight.
At 15th level, our heroic Axewife learns yet another Mystic Arcanum. This time is 8th level, and she learns Power Word Stun, letting her stun an enemy with less than 150 hit points until they succeed on a Constitution save. This means 150 current hit points, not its hit point maximum. So if you suspect the enemy is stronger than that, then just keep hitting it down until you believe you have dropped their hit points low enough. She also is gifted another invocation and learns Otherworldly Leap, allowing her to cast a jump spell on herself without using a spell slot. With her strength, this will give her an impressive jump distance that you can use to maneuver around the battlefield when she isn't flying above it. At 16th level, her ever-increasing strength grants her another ability score improvement or a feat, and she is going to increase her constitution to 16. Even though she has powerful healing and sources of temporary hit points, she still needs the extra durability. At 17th level, she masters her Pact Magic, gaining her most powerful Mystic Arcanum, which is 9th level, and she learns Blade of Disaster. As a bonus action, she conjures a 3-foot-long blade-shaped rift that appears anywhere within 60 feet, and she can make 2 melee spell attacks against one creature or an object within 5 feet of it. These attacks deal 4d12 force damage and score a critical hit on a roll of 18 or higher, dealing 8d12 damage instead. As a bonus action on each of her turns, she can move the blade up to 30 feet and have it make 2 more attacks. This blade lasts for up to a minute depending on concentration and can pass through any barrier, even magical ones such as Wall of Force. Her increasing magical power also gives her a 4th, 5th level spell slot. At 18th level, her patron blesses her with a final invocation and she learns Tomb of Levistus. This invocation is a little complicated, so you should read it for yourself, but it is a reaction that she can use in response to taking damage that grants her a huge amount of temporary hit points that absorbs as much damage as they can. After using this, she is immobilized and vulnerable to fire until the end of her next turn, after which any remaining temporary hit points are lost. Having both this and Searing Vengeance is going to make her incredibly difficult to kill. She can use this ability again after finishing a short or long rest.
And at 19th level, she's reaching the peak of her power and gains a last ability score improvement or feat, and either strength or charisma would be good choices, but we think with so many of her abilities relying on charisma, we're going to choose to cap that at 20. And at 20th level, she has mastered the training given to her by her patron Valkyrie and becomes an Eldritch Master. Once per day, she can call upon her patron to restore her power and regain all of her expended Pact Magic spell slots, allowing her to go into battle fully armed even after fighting countless enemies. I really love this character and this Warlock patron. Warlocks in general are something of a mirror image of Paladins. Both bind themselves to powerful entities in exchange for power. Paladins through oaths, Warlocks through pacts. Where a Fiend Warlock is something of an opposite of a Paladin, the Celestial Warlock is more of a counterpart, a different means of gaining the same goals. This is a character I would play as much as I would a Devotion Paladin, the shining noble warrior who bravely battles the forces of evil. She has different tools at her disposal than a Paladin, being more likely to cast her spells and use them for smiting, and just as likely to attack with her cantrips as she is with her axe. We hope you enjoyed this character as much as we have and would like to play her in your game. If so, please tell us in the comments below, as well as any suggestions for characters you'd like to see us create. Next time we'll be making our heroine's noble husband, a paladin of Clangon Silverbeard, so we hope you'll join us for that. And until then,
cheers.